When Amy was in labor with our first child, as first-time labors often go, I understand it takes a while. And there comes a point in the process where nothing is happening. Nothing is moving. Things are stuck. There's no progress being made. And me being there as the encourager and coach, let's be honest, I had no idea what I was doing. And I really was not much help at all. Yes, I wanted to encourage her, but I really didn't know how. And at some point there in that process, the doctor got frustrated and he said, "That's it. I'm calling in reinforcements." Amy's response was immediate and heartfelt. "Not our mothers." Thankfully, it was not, in fact, our mothers. But the doctor called in 3 nurses who had been through this before. They also happened to be ex-drill sergeants, I'm pretty sure. And they were perfect. They were everything she needed. She needed somebody who could describe for her what those whole different set of muscles were that she needed, who could cajole and coach and encourage her, who could keep her moving and keep her energized and talk her through that. She needed those reinforcements because we're not meant to go through things alone. And what Amy needed in that moment, the doctor was right. She needed somebody who could say, "Yes, me too." And I've been wondering if that perhaps is one of the reasons why Mary runs so quickly to Elizabeth. Gabriel has barely left the room. Gabriel, the angel, has just come to say, "Mary, something new under the sun, a surprise. You will bear, you will hold within you the uncontained God." And Mary said, "I don't understand. How can this be? It's just me." And Gabriel went on to explain that it will be God's power that will come over you and overshadow you. It will be God's doing. And by the way, your kinswoman Elizabeth is also pregnant, the one who long ago had given up on any possibility. And she's 6 months along. And then the most shocking part of that whole visit, of course, is that Gabriel stopped and waited for Mary's response. Stopped to listen for what she would say. And Mary said, "I don't understand, but I know God, and I know God loves me. Here I am, the servant of the Lord. Let it be with me according to your word." Gabriel had hardly left the room before Mary started packing. That's where we picked up in our reading today. Off she went, running to her kinswoman. They're related somewhere. And I've been wondering if she's going there for reinforcements to the only person on the planet who could say, "Yes, me too." The only other equally unlikely first-time mom. Elizabeth, too old. Mary, too unwed. The only one who could say, "Yes, this is happening to me, and isn't this amazing and crazy? This wonderful thing that God has done. Why did he pick us?" Perhaps Mary ran because we're not meant to go through life alone, and she needed that reinforcement, somebody else who could be there with her and share this experience, the only other person on the planet who could share the experience of an unexpected surprise from God. I've been wondering if that isn't perhaps why Mary runs so quickly to see Elizabeth. But then Mary may also be going for safety too. To be an unwed mother in her day, as in ours, is a dangerous thing. Mary lived in a society that had honor killings They were still part of the soup all around her. And in her society, in Mary's world, it was her own dad who was expected to strangle her at the threshold of their own house. Could Mary perhaps have run quickly to spend 3 months away from both Dad and Joseph for her own safety? To go where she knew they could not reach her until being gone for those 3 months and coming back, just starting to show it would be safer because Joseph had not been there? Could Mary perhaps have run for her own safety? But then I also think Mary ran for reassurance too. Mary had just been given a surprise that was ununderstandable and unimaginable. She had plenty of really reasonable questions, plenty of really reasonable doubts. But Gabriel had said that this other miracle had happened. And she's 6 months along, so she's showing. Perhaps Mary went so she could have the reassurance that yes, God works in the world, and yes, this is a God thing, and yes, God can. And so, while not answering her questions, she could be strengthened in her faith, because we all need that. When God invites us to be part of God's plan in the world, we all need that reassurance too. Is it true, God? Did you really pick me, God? Can I really be part of what you're doing, God? Can I manage this? And Mary goes to Elizabeth for that reassurance that yes, God can and does. Gabriel had said nothing is impossible with God. But it's nice to be reassured. And so when Mary walks in the door, when she walks in the door and sees Elizabeth standing there, her hand just going to her belly, her mouth in that perfect O of surprise at the leap of joy inside, in that moment, Mary knows. It's all true. It's all true. God really does work in the world. God really is turning the world right side up. God really does choose people like Mary, like you, like me, ordinary people to do his extraordinary work in the world through ordinary means. God really does have a place for us in his plan. God really does care for the poor, the hungry, the lost and the least and the last and the littlest. God really does care about the ones who are forgotten. God really is setting the world right side up. Mary knew in that moment that it was all true. And so as she and Elizabeth fall into each other's arms, they start to sing, because what else can we do? In the face of God's work and God's love and God's invitation, God's power at work in us, what else can we do but sing our joy? It really is true. God is turning the world right side up. God really is inviting us to be part of that plan. God really is at work in and through you. God really is. God really is. It's all true. how can we do anything but sing? How can we do anything but sing our joy at what God is doing in us and in the world? How can we do anything but sing because God is at work, turning the world right side up? And God has invited you. God has invited you. God has invited you to be part of his plan. How can we do anything except sing our joy?